Hi guys, it's April and I am here for the last monthly recommendation for the year. And because it is the last one of the year, we decided that we were just going to mesh all of this year's topic together into one huge mashup, just in case you missed doing one of the monthly recommendation topics, or if there's something new that you'd like to add to the list, or if you wanted to continue to tell the world about some of your favorites. This is your chance. I will link all the information down below in case you're interested in joining monthly recommendations. I highly recommend that you do. Not that I'm biased or anything, but mostly because I love finding more recommendations, and this is a great way for me to just go through and find a ton of cool recommendations. So at the beginning of the year, January, our first topic was recommended first books of the series. And everybody probably knows what I'm going to pull out for this one because my life isn't complete without this book. And that, of course, would be Wool by Hugh Howey. I absolutely adore this series, and Wool just sucked me in a way that I hadn't been sucked in for such a long time. This is the story of a very dystopian Earth. Everyone is living underground in these silos. Everyone is ranked according to their work. When one commits a crime, one can be punished to going out on the surface and cleaning the lenses of the camera with a piece of wool, hence the title. But when you go out to clean, you don't come back. This is just all of these people living in this silo, trying to go on in their daily lives and just dealing with each other in a very close, confined space. I love it so much. Then February brought us graphic novel recommendations. I sadly missed this one. I don't know how, which doesn't make sense because graphic novels are absolutely amazing, and I have to tell the world about this beautiful, amazing, lovely graphic novel because it is my favorite. And that is The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage. This just takes history and morphs it into its own parallel dimension in which Lovelace and Babbage continue to work on the first computer. And it is great. The humor in this book and just the Lovelace character, I adore so stinking much. And there are footnotes throughout this graphic novel that just brings up more of the history, and it just brings up all this really interesting information. It's this weird mix of humor and history, and I love it. And it's good. Go read it. Do it. March brought us duologies, and of course I have to bring up Trickster's Choice by Tamara Pierce. This of course is set in Tamara Pierce's Tortall universe, which I highly recommend. If you've never read any of the Tortall books, you need to read them because this universe and these females are freaking amazing. In this story, you follow Allie as she is kidnapped and gets wrangled in a plot by one of the trickster gods. It is really, really fascinating. Plus, there are some characters in this duology that just make me smile so much. I have a full review over this duology. I will link it down below and up above because that's what I do. April, the topic was mental health. Now here, I don't really have a large pool that I know about. It's still one of those genres that I'm trying to pull more into. So if you have recommendations for me, tell me down below. But I had to bring up Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. While I don't particularly enjoy the full plot of this book, the way that John Green represents Aza's mental spirals, I connected to and understood, and it made sense that I have to recommend this book just for that reason. I know I feel a little squishy about recommending it even though I didn't really like the plot, but the mental health stuff that this book tackles, yes. And then there was May, which was the topic. Booktube made me read it, and there are so many books on this list because I have been on Booktube for so stinking long now, and it makes me smile every time I find a book from Booktube, and I love it to death, and then I'm just spouting all of the words at you guys all over again. And so for this one, I had to bring up Horror Store by Gedry Hendricks. I don't even remember where I first started seeing this book, but I did, and I found it utterly fascinating. It is a horror story set in an IKEA type store, and the whole book is laid out like an IKEA catalog. And right now I'm just showing you words. If I could actually find a chapter heading, this would make more sense. Just give me a second. So each of the chapters are an item at the store that you could pick up, and progressively they just get worse and worse and worse. And it's great. I love this book so much. I should probably reread it. I'm probably gonna do that. June, the topic was audiobooks. And for this one, I'd probably have to mention The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. It is read by Will Patton, and his voice is just perfect for this whole series. It's very atmospheric and very moody, and I'm probably going to look up what other audiobooks he has narrated because I enjoy listening to him so very much. There's something about a grungy male voice that I like a lot. Is that creepy? July was all about the rereads. You guys know what is coming. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I literally reread this one every year because I enjoy it so much. I can't mention this book enough. Juliette Marillier just has a way of writing. It's magical and otherworldly sometimes. But this is the story of Sorsha as she goes and tries to save her brothers who have been turned into swans. Yes, this is a fairy tale retelling, and that isn't the only reason why I love it so much. Like I said, Juliette Marillier, she has a way of writing characters and romances that makes me so very happy. It does. August was underrated books, and Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson is at the top of my list of underrated books. I hear all the time people talking about Mistborn and all of his other books coming out, but I don't hear a lot about the Stormlight Archive, and there needs to be more. Because this world, the way he develops shard blades and shard plates, and the character development he does with this war that is going on this planet, and the characters that he builds up. Lift has got to be one of my all-time favorite characters of any of Brandon Sanderson's. Okay, there's a few more, but Lift is adorable. So I have to talk about this book. This book needs to be read by more people. It needs to be talked about more people. Way of Kings. And then September. September brought us bingeable books or marathon-worthy books. Yep. Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This whole series, the Winter Night series, is bingeable. The last one isn't out yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be bingeable just by the way the last two books have been written. This is the story of Vasilisa, who is in the Russian wilderness, and it just takes a look at Russian folklore and fighting to be who one wants to be, not who one is supposed to be. I just love the way that Catherine Arden wrote the character of Vasilisa, just how strong and how she just takes on the world and doesn't care about anything else. She just is plainly herself, and I like it. Plus, all of the Russian folklore woven in, it's blended so well. In October was Halloween, and so Witchy Read recommendations was a thing that happened. And for that, I have to bring up Compulsion by Martina Bone. This takes a look at the Deep South and a lot of the things that go on in the Deep South. It takes a look at these two families and how there might be some magic woven into their past. It mostly follows Barry as she learns about her family history and how she's interconnected with these other families in the area. It's got that southern charm. It's magical in so many different ways. And last but not least, November's topic was relatable characters. There are so many different characters that I could have brought up, and maybe it's because I just finished a reread of this book. It would have to be Becca Cooper from the Becca Cooper series by Tamara Pierce, but Becca Cooper is one of those characters that I relate to on a very weird level, because Becca Cooper is the shyest person you will ever meet, but as soon as you put her in her job where she knows she has specific things that she has to do, she just is amazing and just gets the job done. And I relate to that so much because if you put me in a social circumstance where I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, if I'm just supposed to mingle or whatnot, I would rather be in a corner curled up into a ball. But if you put me in a work environment where I know what the priorities are, I know the task that needs to be done, I'll get it done because it needs to be done. I also have a review over this full series if you want to know more about it. But Becca Cooper, she is just one of those characters that I feel a connection with. So those were all of the topics that were covered in 2018 for monthly recommendations. I hope you learned about some interesting books. If you guys decide to do this wonderful list to wrap up your year, tell me down below. I would love to go check out your list. And like I said, if you have recommendations, feel free to just throw them at me at any time because books. I like books. I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.